Today I woke to a beautiful vision of the Lord standing in front of a large circular stone that had a door in it. This stone reminded me of the stone that they pulled away um, from Jesus' tomb, but except it was a little different because it actually had a door in it. It looked like it was a a yellow faded golden type color to it, and it had Hebrew writings all over it. I couldn't read the Hebrew writings because I was too far away. I was behind Jesus. Um, it had a bright light shining from the door. It was a white light, bright white light. I saw Jesus standing in front of it, facing towards it, and there was movement. He was kind of moving towards it a little bit. I saw the side of him, the right side, slightly saw his face a little bit, and he was kind of moving towards looking at the open door. He had these beautiful tall flower stems that he was standing on, and there was also grass, and many of the taller stems had these little circular flowers on them that were different colors. And I know a couple of them were blue and red, and I don't remember all the other colors. My focus was mostly on Jesus primarily. I saw Jesus in his white robe, and he moved slightly towards the door. His robe was actually glowing. He was glowing, and it was like a bright white robe this time. And he did have his hood up. The Holy Spirit was showing me that this vision has so many different meanings in it, but a primary message in this vision was that there is life after death, there is a promise after darkness, there is more because of Christ and what he did for us, and for his love for us. The writings on the wall was a representation of his instructions that he gave us through the Holy Spirit to guide us and help us to get where we need to go and to do his will. And so I kind of just wrote down some of the other meanings. So I'm just going to kind of go through those really quickly to show you what, because God doesn't, when he's showing these visions, he has a message in every part. Sometimes God talks to us through words, but sometimes he also talks to us through visions or dreams. And we have to be able to learn God's language in all of them. And I guess after so many times of seeing him, I'm starting to learn his language. And this language, the vision language. So the Lord shining bright basically was God's glory in the Holy Spirit. He shares his glory with us. His resurrection. So basically seeing the tomb was his resurrection. Seeing him stand outside of his tomb was the resurrection, him dying for us to prove his love, and there is life after death in him. So we have life after death because of him, basically. So the tomb also represents promise after death. So we can reach the promised land also through what he did for us. We have promises here on earth, but we also have promise after we die. So God is reminding us of that. The Hebrew language on the stone, of course, again, was his teachings to help us do the Father's will and to find him. So everything that God has said in the Bible, everything that he wrote out, was his instructions. So, and if you're led by the Holy Spirit, you'll know that it's the Holy Spirit is leading you to do the will of the Father. So the flowers were a representation of the promised land after being led by the Holy Spirit. The flowers were showing life. They were showing growth. They were showing, because flowers grow in darkness and then they bloom and they see light. And it's kind of like that with getting to a promise or a promised land, that something beautiful happens afterwards. The open door, we all have an open door or many open doors from the Lord at some point in our life. And the Lord is showing us that there is more on the other side. Especially if the other side is with him involved. And of course, white, the Lord has shown me many times, is his purity, his pure heart towards us, as well as it can be a representation of his bride. And finally, his hood up meant he was praying for us. The Lord has actually showed me that many times that He actually prays for us. And I believe that He's praying for us to be strong through the trials and temptations of this world, and that the Father will keep us, despite everything that comes against us and despite us even wanting to give up as well. I believe that He's praying for us from what He showed me. So after going through a lot of the details of the vision, I kind of want to elaborate on a couple things that I felt the Lord wanted me to share. Concerning the primary message, a couple things that I should have added, which I added later, was that the reason the Lord was so focused on that door was because He was trying to show that it was in an impossible place. The tomb was sealed, and the Lord was raised from the dead, which is something impossible. So that there was a door put there that made it possible. And so the Lord was showing me that this vision, the primary message, really is that He makes impossible things possible. He's the one that does that. God makes the impossible possible, basically. And another meaning was for those of you that haven't met the Lord yet or don't know Him yet, the open door is for you that He's knocking on, and if you open it and let Him come in, then you'll get to see the Lord work. He's knocking, and it's up to you to open the door. He's not going to force Himself on anybody. That's not the Lord's character. But I promise you that once you do let the Lord in, and you fully give Him your time and attention and seek to follow Him and His ways, then I promise you will see an outcome. You will see the Lord operating in your life as He's done with me and many others. These visions that the Lord give me is not something that's from me. There's no way I could construct this many years of visions and this many details and continue to do it in a way that it's all aligning with His words and who He is and His character. Some things I've forgotten over the years. The Lord is the one that reminds me. So I hope with anything, if anything, that all these messages are to help you realize how real God can be in your life if you truly seek to do the will of the Father. You guys have a blessed day.